Once you grasp this truth that I'm about to tell you, it'll set you free from religion. It'll set you free from parents and moms and family and governments and police, everybody. It'll set you free. And it's simply this: you are divine. God has exploded in a Crab Nebulae explosion, and he has come and manifested himself as billions of people. And you're one of you, and so am I. When I look at you, I see God. When you look at me, you see God. That's why God's name is I Am. I am God. It doesn't mean that me, God. It means I am. When you say I am God, you have to say, what is God's name? I am. What? I am God. Oh my God, then all the people, Christians run around, oh, I told you they think they're God. I don't think anything on the side. No, Jesus Christ said, the scripture says you are God, and the scripture cannot be broken. So he said it.
Yeah, like I'm not third album.
Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I will be discussing the Libra Lunar eclipse happening on March 25th. It is a full moon penumbral lunar eclipse at 5 degrees. Full moons are a time to let go of things and complete something. And penumbral is just like half of the moon is gonna be covered, so it's not as strong. But make no mistake, you will feel this strongly. We definitely started feeling this in February, and we'll feel it to mid-June because we'll have another eclipse in Aries, and I'll be doing that next. Everyone will feel this in their Libra area of life, but cardinal signs will feel this the most. That's Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, and Aries. I also think Capricorns will probably have a lot more success, as well as Leos might struggle a little bit because it's in opposition, and Pisces, because Pisces getting ready to move into the nodes. And so whatever's coming through for this eclipse, whenever we're talking about Pisces themes, is something to keep in the back of your mind on those themes, because it's going to be in the North Node, I believe, and fall. And Venus is in Pisces during this eclipse, and wherever Venus is, we have to look at that strongly because Venus rules Libra. And so, hell, I'd even say Tauruses could be feeling this to some extent because it's also ruled by Venus. And so, yeah, just keep those things in the back of your mind. 5 degrees is a Leo degree. This can rule what we like, affairs, mistresses, lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, what we value, elitists, power, to rule. So definitely presidents, leaders, and people in power, people in high positions, ambition, directors, managers, career advancement, secondary school education courses, tourism, vacations, restaurants, bars, actors, theaters, sports, sportsmanship, stadiums, children, being proud around something, professors and fathers. This could be about to consume with others or heavily interested in others, comparing others to what you have. Our desires, equality, law, our relationship to money. I do think that we'll see a lot of things around equal rights when it comes to relationships and the union or the institution of marriage. there could be some human trafficking, women in prison, or women dating men in prison. Um, I do think that a lot of these Leo themes are going to be playing out in a very interesting way around how we date, and what we value when it comes to dating. Um, with Venus being in Pisces, Pisces are about secrets and things coming to light around affairs and mistresses, um, side lovers with Pluto in Aquarius. This can definitely be falling in love with friends, uh, or just being in and out of relationships without giving yourself space and time afterwards, and the lack of healing. Um, so this could definitely be about situations with people falling in love at work, or with managers, and like to get career advancement, even in school and education. I wouldn't doubt that some kind of story would come out around a teacher falling in love with a student. Um, um, Meeting people at bars, that might be something that comes to an end, or that people don't take as seriously. Like when you go out clubbing, or it could be that you meet somebody while you're out with friends, going to some kind of event. Uh, this could be about pregnancy and your relationship to your children, being proud about family ancestral lines, and um, your culture around that, or you know what you learned from that, or what you're taking away from that, and what you're wanting to change. We can definitely hear more about Hollywood, especially with Venus being in Pisces, um, because Leo rules actors, theaters, and Pisces is behind the scenes directors, Hollywood in general. We can definitely hear about some sports person doing some kind of drugs or something to get ahead, especially with the whole equality thing. This could be like, um, trans people in sports doing some kind of drugs to get ahead, or even some, other just women in general trying to get ahead to be a trans member of her team, or and even somebody in the opposite of the team, something crazy like that. Um, Women empowerment in some way, or even just hearing more stories or more information coming out about the strength of women, and stuff like that. Our desires are definitely going to heighten for sure. Um, yeah, I think people are going to be looking for more balance and harmony in relationships, dating, and things that they value when it comes to coming together with people. I even think sex life is going to be a really big theme with people, like no sex before marriage. It could be stuff like that, getting real traditional around the idea of sex and coming together with others. Um, Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm seeing with that. This is a South Node eclipse. The South Node is our collective past. It's about releasing and letting go. So the biggest theme here is releasing and letting go of the full moon in the South Node. So we're really letting go a lot of the lower vibrations of Libra themes here. It's also where we come from, what we've dealt with in the past. This could even be our past lives and karma that we have to pay for that. So it can bring good karma and experiences that we have on a soul level. This could be soul contracts coming together, so people breaking up so that people who are meant to be together at this time can meet and come together. I think with Venus and Pisces, that's going to be a huge theme. I also think it's going to be tumultuous and violent and just hard, because Venus and Pisces, even though Venus is exalted in Pisces, Pisces is about stress and trauma and being able, not easily being able to let go of something so that you can elevate. This is going to essentially be about elevating in our relationships and connections in general, not just romantic relationships, by the way. But for the sake of talking about Venus and Pisces, is very ethereal. It's definitely internal and more about your spirit and your intuition and wanting to build a healthier relationship with somebody, something that's more real. And not this idealism or what's sold on television and movies, and getting more practical about that, about the ideas that we've been shown over the years, as opposed to, like when I was saying about the Leo energy, is very cultural and traditional, even like ancient kind of ways of being in relationships. In that way, there's something very more grounded and practical about being in relationships and what that looks like. What are you building essentially? Um, um, yeah, this can also show where you're cutting back on something, moving away from something. Um, Eclipses typically, when there's a south node eclipse and it's time for you to let go of something, it can almost feel a lot easier, like a breath of fresh air, like you're ready to let something go, despite the Venus and Pisces energy, which, by the way, I do like Venus and Pisces energy in the way of it being spiritual, because it'll bring in something that you won't be able to, like, it's out of your hands, out of your control. So if you are somebody who's struggling with letting a relationship go, I think on the positive side of this, it's going to be a lot easier for some people, not all, to do, because Venus and Pisces can be like draining, to the point where you're like, I don't have anything else to give. I don't have a choice but to detach from something. You might not have the energy. You might not have enough energy to fight um, in that way, where it's almost kind of a natural release or letting go. And Libra can be very peaceful things, where it's more like closure. Like, I really need this space right now. I really need to let this go so that you can see clearly, so that you can heal yourself and do something because you're doing it for you and not necessarily thinking about other people or giving too much to other people or being people pleasing. Even unconditional love in that way, I think you can have a more honest conversation about having to do something for you. It's going back to that idea of cuppeth runneth over. If I'm not full and full, there's absolutely no way that I love you the way that you may want to be loved, because I'm not able to do it for myself. Um, and so I think there could be a lot of breakups that are like, it's time, you know? Um, and so it can feel like you've learned everything you can from that relationship. You no longer need it. In that same token, you can be reconnecting with someone from the past, something from the past. Um, yeah. That's very spiritual. I think these are going to be a lot more spiritual connections, a lot deeper with Pluto and Aquarius, maybe even friends or platonic somebody who was there to support you through this. You end up falling in love with them in some way, shape, or form. But detachment is going to be a really big theme. This can even be the detaching from material things, fame, being seen in money. This can be our counselors, therapists, psychologists, clients, and romantic relationships, marriage partners that we can be moving away from. This could also be moving away from the idea of wanting to be in a relationship or needing to be in a relationship, having a home and kids. We can see a lack of fairness and crooked things going on in the courts. We may see a lot of changes in the justice system. Like, I don't know if anybody knows, in Boston, they have this case called, I think it's the Karen Reed case. I don't typically follow these types of things, but I happen to be speaking to somebody who was explaining to me that this lady they're trying to lock away for life is pretty much being railroaded because they're trying to say that she killed her husband, who was a police officer, and they're learning throughout this case and other cases, and now FBI is involved, and they're taking a deeper look at this story, and it looks like there might be a lot of pretty high people getting into some really big SHIT for fudging the truth, lying, even grooming people to lie. We could see a lot of stories about that going on, and how people have done that in the past. People in high positions like cops and judges and lawyers and police officers, just getting into a lot of shit for telling stories that so they don't get in trouble for something that they did and putting it off on innocent people. And so this kind of reminds me of that case. I think it was just like a simple drug case or something where one of the ladies did something with the testing and mad people got out of jail. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's quite some time ago, but it feels kind of like a repeat of that, just a different kind of case and scenario and situation. So we could see a lot more of that, especially with prison and things about prison and all that other stuff too. This can highlight issues related to partnerships, fairness, diplomacy, and balance in relationships. The need for diplomacy, mediators, lawyers, and middlemen, even negotiators. We can be kind of headstrong, dependent, fierce, and unwilling to work with others, indicating, that it's time to swallow your pride, if you will. Admit where you were wrong and say sorry in order to be able to work with others. I see that being a pretty big theme too. We'll see people walking out of relationships, breaking contracts, growing out of relationships, people losing their job, noticing where they're giving too much to others and not themselves. And so taking a break to get to know yourself and really reassess some of these behaviors is going to be a big theme. And then Pluto in Aquarius is going to make a beautiful trine to the South Node in Libra. I love this. Trines are usually pretty positive. However, it's a South Node eclipse. And so this actually hasn't been in this area of our chart before. And so this is really going to open up new things to understand our likes, wants, and fears. This is definitely going to be about breaking down anything keeping you from growing and evolving. I think, again, evolving is going to be one of the other bigger themes here. Um, we're going to be looking for more people that we can rely on, what groups we can rely on, what friends we can rely on, what organizations and networks we can rely on. I definitely think we're going to see a lot more platonic relationships, a lot more death culture, through again, Hollywood falling and truths coming out is going to open people's eyes to, wow, I believe this theory, this line, this situation for such a long time, and to know that it's connected to something that's, you know, probably unsavory, a little dark, and like, ooh, I can't believe that, to the point where it allows you to be like, you know what, I think I'm going to find something new to watch, or something new to believe in, or some new way of thinking or doing something now that that veil is dropped. I definitely do think intimacy in relationships is going to grow. Again, going back to that idea of, your expectations when you're dating or when you're with somebody, even something happening to the point, and if you're already in a relationship, that it really brings you closer together in a more intimate way. Um, and it'll kind of help you build upon that idea of intimacy. Um, Unfortunately, if we're not making a lot of these changes that are going to be asked of us right now, and we're fighting this, we're going to see less connections, because on the lower expression of Aquarius, again, it's very disconnected. It's about going it alone and doing your own thing, or being disagreeable for the sake of not wanting to be like somebody else. And so I think we'll see less connections, less babies, less marriages, less people coming together, which ultimately is going to bring in the AI. And why AI is so popular now is because nobody wants to connect anymore. This could also be trauma bonding. And I even see this being as like in the music industry, that music doesn't sell unless it's about some kind of toxic um situation. It's trauma bonding. It's got to be a bad breakup, especially with Venus and Pisces. It's going to be sad, and maybe more acoustic music, but definitely about something that happened, or somebody deceiving you, ghosting you, all these kind of lower vibrational themes here. Being stabbed in the back with Pluto and Aquarius. You slept with my friend. All these really kind of crazy stuff. So in your circle, in your network, it could be a lot of secrets that come out that end up ultimately breaking you away from them again, so that you can find other things, people, places, and things that are more on your level and where you're at right now. Um, I think this stuff is really meant to drive us apart, and it's working. And these themes will be pretty big all the way through March and April. And so Venus entered Pisces March 10th to April 4th. It'll be in there till April 4th. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, which is another indication of endings. It's also about releasing, letting go, endings, closure. It's very much about the fifth dimension, the spiritual realm, ethereal, things that can't be seen, but they're felt. So people could be really sensitive about this, and with Pluto in Aquarius and the Leo energy, and then the Aries North Node, this is where I'm getting this impression of violence, and people, this is like crime of passion type things, especially if you're emotionally unstable. And somebody who's a little delusional, they're not, seeing things for what they really are. Um, I can see a lot of situations where people, um, I hate to say like death over some woman or a man, but it can be a real life theme. People burning your houses. I'm thinking of Left Eye right now. I think Left Eye burnt that man's house because he didn't buy her any sneakers, by the way, which is crazy. But this is Venus and Pisces. Pisces rules the feet and sneakers, you know. But just think of all the tragic stories that you've heard about relationships and people breaking up, and then the person, following them, spying on them, setting up, um, uh, like pages to see what they're doing. Even if you're not in a relationship with somebody and somebody has a crush on you or they like you or they're just very Pluto and Aquarius, like I want to know about this person before I enter into the relationship instead of, asking questions. These might be people who are very socially inept and they don't really know how to talk or have very high demands and what they want and their expectations, or they want to know how to manipulate the situation so that when they come in, they can get what they want. Um, kind of stuff like that. Like, people just, they might not be mentally stable, because of some kind of lack that they don't have. And so, people don't want to be embarrassed. They're afraid of um, failure or people saying no. And, people who have these kinds of problems can be the type of people who are kind of acting out over a breakup or even in the like of somebody, having a crush on somebody before they make a move. They might be like, spying on you or gathering information on you. These could be your enemies and people who don't like you. I mean, this is like the entirety of tarot readings that you hear about, all these crazy tarot readings and things like this is tarot reading central. And, I think we have to be really, really careful with that because that's also trauma bonding. I I can go so into this right now, but I think you really, really, really have to be careful about what you listen to and who you're listening to and what you're consuming at this time when it comes to manifesting, you know. Um, I think you have to be very careful on who you believe in, separating, going inward, healing. It's probably going to be the better route if you're already in relationships with people. Again, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about all relationships, making sure that you're consistently having conversations, keeping up with folks and letting them know where you are, where you stand, so you don't leave room for people to have to guess what you're thinking. These are just ways on how you're going to know whether or not your relationships are strong. Um, you know, I could say so much more about that, but I think you get the point. um, and so be mindful um, of the company you keep. I also think a lot of these things are going to become very, very clear if you're not sure, which, by the way, if you're not sure, that is an answer. If somebody can't communicate with you and tell you how they feel, or they leave you on hold, or leave you on red, or they're ghosting you, or they're not giving you time, especially without an explanation, these are very clear signs that that person doesn't care. Love doesn't confuse you. It doesn't keep you on hold. It doesn't ghost you without an explanation. You know what I mean? This is somebody who's really going to take their time, who's going to show you that they care. They're going to always be there. They will get back to you. If you're getting anything else other than that, that's your answer, right? And so with Libra being very relationship focused and wanting to connect socially and be out there and have a good time, and Venus and Pisces can very much be that way too. The idealism of love and romance at the highest levels, very angelic. Venus and Pisces is very angelic. These tend to be the women who exude feminine energy without even trying, but innocently, not trying to dress nice or, for attention. They just are. You know what I mean? These are the type of women that I think we'll see typically going through a lot of these hardships, because um it's very needed in this world right now to its highest expression, because so many people have trauma and they'll be naturally drawn to you to for the comfort, for the nurturing. um and you got to be careful, you got to have boundaries. Venus is going to conjunct Saturn and Pisces, and Saturn is all about boundaries, limits, um, you know, and blocking people, places, and things out that don't give you what you're giving back. Um, yeah, I feel like I can go on and on and on about that topic, but I think you get the picture. Pisces rule signs, symbols, synchronicities, the metaphysics, spiritual, otherworldly, mysticism, private isolation, sleep, rest, things that happen behind the scenes, unconscious, dreams, delusions, lack of direction, addictions, victim mentality, faith, believing something higher than yourself, trusting in the process, um, um, dreams and bringing your dreams to reality. Um, Health and hospitals, prisons. Um, I feel like I can go on and on again, but I think you get the point, right? And so this can be emotional blockages. This could be blockages to the subconscious mind, um, blockages to your needs and desires. This could be ancestral patterns that are being shown to you. Um, Signs, symbols, and synchronicities trying to put you on the right track. That's something that aligns with what you're meant to do, especially because the North and the South Node are connected to your mission and purpose in life. And so again, your soul family could be doing a lot of work behind the scenes here to push you towards your destiny. So these could be very fated meetings, very fated endings. Again, and it's going to feel more natural, I think, at this time more than anything. Um, but you've always got people who can be very disagreeable. There's a high vibration and low vibration of every sign, but for the most part, I think people are going to be ready. You'll know which story is yours, and whether or not you're being honest about your where you lack in life, right? And whether you're just grabbing on to people. This is very victim mentality to um, get what you can from them, or energy vampires, or just take from people, but you never offer anything back, or you consistently want to control people, but you don't talk to them and let them know what you want. And you can't speak for yourself. This could be, um, you know, yeah, I just feel like it's people who want to kind of pull you down. And they're always the tarot cards are always talking about people doing spells on you, and uh, I really take issue with that. But you know, essentially, if somebody's consistently preying on your downfall, or doing things that knowing that you're trying to excel and move up in life and they're just there as a blockage, whether they know it intentionally or not, you know, you have to say what it is, right? Like these are spells. This is what you call magic, right? Or manifestations, right? And somebody could be kind of, having that kind of energy upon you. And you should know if you are people doing those types of things with this energy, it's too strong. This is more ruled by things that are outside of our control. So one, again, it can come to light that people have been doing that to you. It's like you know how like people get drunk and they all of a sudden tell the truth without even really wanting to. It's going to be situations like that, whether the person is drunk or not. Somebody is going to say something, slip up, or show you in some way, shape, or form that they've been doing these kinds of things to you intentionally because they hate you so much. This could be love and hate. Pisces is my thin line between love and hate placement. They love you so much, but they can't keep up, or they feel like they don't have what you have, but they want to be next to it so they can look like they have what you have instead of doing the work and the healing to have what you have. This is all this kind of energy, which I think is also a part of our death culture because we watch these movies that have these kind of storylines and we like the drama TV. And I don't know why. The other day I found myself being drawn to bad girls. Why? Why? I know why. It's going back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the year. There's just a lot of stuff within us that's going to be coming up that's showing us like our bad habits, you know, where we really hold hatred for somebody. And again, whether we notice that that's what it is or not, um, it's time to release and break that stuff up. And the really beautiful thing about this is that two things. The way this fated and destiny works is that it's out of your hands. And so they're gonna come up in ways, whether you find out the truth or not, but the truth is gonna come out to a point where you break away anyways. Maybe somebody ends up in prison or goes to jail for something else. Doesn't even have to have anything to do with you. And you grow and evolve outside of that person, or you never even know that they're locked up. you know, um, there could be a death in some way that it's just going to be things that break you apart that are outside of your control enough to make whatever people are doing to you release that energy and you move up anyways. You were going to move up anyways, but I'm just explaining the energy. The second way I see this happening is instant karma. If you're doing these types of things with Aries is all about instant karma because it's quick, fast, hot, fiery, violent, and etc. And what happens with when you're doing this kind of stuff with a Aries North Node eclipse is that it turns back on you, it spins the block, goes right over the person that you wish it was for, and then you get stuck watching somebody live their happily ever after, and you're still going to be salty. And so going back to the Libra energy is just like being able to admit where you're wrong and apologize, get out of that dark energy, let go and release whatever hatred or jealousy, envy, all these kinds of ridiculous things, because whatever it is, it's not real anyways. If you have these kinds of feelings, it's really just showing you where you're fearful to grow and evolve. And because you haven't done the work, you feel like you can't do what other people are doing, which is absolutely ridiculous. Everybody has, again, a dark side and a light side. And so in order to clear out the darkness, you got to come to the light, which means admitting to yourself where you've done wrong and kind of, forgiving yourself for that, healing, etc., etc. I can go on and on and on, but I think you guys get the picture. But I really do think there's going to be a lot of stuff like this um, going on. I think there's going to be issues with home and family, unfortunately. There's definitely going to be some stuff going on about mistresses finding out that they're pregnant by the person who's in a whole other relationship that's going to break families up. And the real people who suffer with these types of things are the children, unfortunately. Um, you know, um, it's just, yeah. Um, you know, a lot of secrets coming up in family, same scenarios, just with family. You might find out a sister slept with your boyfriend or, shit like that. Um, this could also be about emotional strength, boundaries, again, making your dreams a reality, committing to the wrong thing and having a realization about that. Um, this could be questions about where we go after death and being super interested in those. It could even be some spirit, ghosts and ghost stories and, uh, you know, um, friends from the past coming to friends or family members who have passed, trying to get your attention. Uh, this could be the elderly with Saturn conjunct. This could be about seers or, uh, ancient ones, people who can see, psychics and all that kind of stuff, all the divinations here, or getting like past life regression stuff. This is also divine protection and transcendence. Again, evolution and evolving are going to be some of the biggest themes around this. Um, this stuff that's coming up is really just trying to get you to change patterns, change your mindset and habits, but unconsciously. I think that's what makes this so pure and beautiful, is like your enemies and people who are out to get you and stop you, or even your own mind could be your worst enemy. And, you talking yourself out of stuff can be your worst enemy. And it just falls away because of something you see, you being inspired by something, somebody comes in to help you, and you know, um, a lot of situations like that. Um, I think going back to like actors and stuff like that, things coming out where you're not idealizing someone, but making it real. So this could also pertain to relationships, not just idealizing what a love relationship looks like, but doing the work to bring that to fruition, believing in that, having faith and trusting the process. Um, this could be a lot of themes around we really like each other, but don't know how to take it to the next level. Um, are wanting to support each other, but don't know how to do that. The answers and information can come through almost seemingly out of nowhere. This is definitely going to be about staying connected to your vision to make it a reality and not worrying about what's going on out in the world. Uh, Definitely there's always a sacrifice when it comes to making something a reality, because there are so many different things out in the world that are already against you. And so that strength of your vision needs to be strong. Um, so you need the boundaries, you need to ask questions, and make sure that people are who they really say they are, etc., etc. Again, partners that are meant to be are going to come together. Um, Definitely the idea of repeating past mistakes or meeting the same lover but in a different body. And these are the types of cycles you're repeating: laziness, indecisiveness. The karma is going to be cleared here. People are going to start to see, um, just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you're happy. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you have security. And again, if you're not doing it for the things that you're asking for in relationships for yourself, why would somebody invest in you? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy some of the ways that we think that are so unrealistic. This kind of made me think about I was listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins talk about um uh, Terry Crews giving his flowers to Ice Cube for allowing him to be in the movie Friday. And even though he didn't really get paid a lot um, for that movie, what it did was it opened up more doors for him to make more money. And I think he called it something theory. Uh, oh my God, it's gonna drive me crazy, you guys. What did he call it? As a string theory? Don't beat me, guys. Signaling theory, that's what he called it. You can go look it up, but essentially what he was kind of talking about was, you know, trusting enough in yourself, investing enough in yourself to take opportunities, even though they might not come with a lot of money or nothing guaranteed, but it's in a place or space in which possibilities open doors for you tremendously. And that's wealth, you know. He made a statement about something Charlemagne had said. Most people don't know a good opportunity unless it's attached to a paycheck. And that's the poor mentality. I've talked about this stuff before. Um, you know, poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. Um, this remind me of, we all say that we're spiritual and, we don't believe in God, at least not the way that, it's sold out in the world, but we're still not making it, which says you really are a part of this whole religious movement. And it's natural, right? Because that's all we're kind of being shown. Nobody's really giving us tools to see otherwise. But I think I mentioned this too, this idea about, I can't remember what video I said it in, but it was about this guy who got caught up in a storm, and the storm, messed everything up to the point where people had to wait to people for other people to come and, get them out of that space. But this one guy was just like, every time a police officer came by, he says, "Hi, I'm here to save you. Get in my boat." And then a police officer comes and he says, "Hi, I'm here to save you. Here's my boat." And then somebody else who randomly just had a boat says, "Hi, I'm here to save you. Get in my boat." And each and every time one of those people came by to save this man, he said, "No, I'm going to wait for God to come and save me." And when he died, because he missed out on those opportunities, he got to heaven and he asked God, "Why didn't you save me?" He said, "Well, I sent you a fireman, a police officer, and a neighbor." Just like sit with that thought process for a minute and think about how many opportunities that we pass up on because it doesn't look like what we want it to look like, or the lack of what we're learning it should look like. You know what I mean? And how are you going to change that mindset? And it's signaling theory. It's when you invest in yourself, it signals to other that you're somebody worth investing. And so when somebody comes to you and says they want to invest in you, that's going to come with a series of questions. Well, you know, what did you do so far for your own project? How much did you put into it? And this gives people information on whether or not you're worth, um, you know, investing in. But we don't think like that, mostly because we're not being taught. And I feel like, at some point that's just a lame excuse. Um, but I think that we have a very distorted, I think that's the word I'm going to go with, view of what to expect from others when we don't even do it half of what we think we want for ourselves. And we're not even willing to really go out and do that same work for ourselves. And this is a lot of the reasons why most of these relationships are breaking down, because it wasn't built on anything solid. You were over giving anyways, right? And so Libra is really bringing up where, we never set up a solid foundation, and why we can't come together and what we need to do to change it in order to change this whole AI movement, which, there's a part of me that wants to be like, yeah, we're gonna make it. But at the same time, I've been through some things myself where I see, this is a shit show. If we do, it'll be from the grace of God for sure. And I'm sorry to sound so pessimistic, but I don't think we're gonna do well at all. But I guess time will tell. This could also be emotional awareness, realizing that you've never told someone that you love them, or you're still in love with somebody, reminiscing about these things, letting go of grudges, addressing unhappiness in relationships. Um, this could definitely be mood swings and being upset about why you live in lack, why you don't have a relationship when you're probably isolated, very cold, avoidant, and prone to conflicts. Why can't you find love? Are you being good to people? Are you being good to your family and coworkers? It's a time to find common ground with others, or um, do the healing process so that you can even see that that's something that needs to be done. I think we'll see a lot of stuff in the healthcare system. Again, loss of jobs, fertility numbers going down. I did say that. Prison system stuff, I said that. Karma's coming to balance things out, you know. It might come in the form of tension. Again, I don't think this is going to be very easy for people. I think there's a lot of people that are going to go loop-de-loop because people are leaving them. But also destined and fated things can occur. Or these can be like blessings in disguise, like you lose your job and then you get a better offer 10 times better. This could also be reflections through relationships to see a lot of the times what you need to learn to change about yourself. I was listening to this astrologer. I think he was talking about Jupiter and Taurus conjunct Uranus and Taurus. I don't think I've talked about this yet, by the way, and I don't even know if I think I wrote it up, but I don't think I did the video yet. And he made such a great example about that transit that I still feel like fits here, is how him as a man in a relationship, he's married with a wife and kids, but he has all girls and he's the only man in the house. And this is not and I'm not saying this as a way to pick on men. I think both men and women equally have a lot of healing to do. I'm just really talking about the situation that he used as an example. And he was like, being the only man in the house, he realized that he's a little stern, or, like masculine energy is about uh addressing issues to solve them so that we can, cut to the chase and just fix the problem. And as being around all girls, he's like, I had to learn, that not everybody that complains doesn't know what to do. And not everybody who has a problem wants it to be fixed. A lot of people just want to be heard, right? And so he has to really like step back now when his wife or his daughters come to him about an issue, to be like, oh shoot, I need to listen now. Now's a really good time to listen. What is it that they're actually saying? And how this becomes a amazing opportunity to connect with somebody when you listen, and not listen to speak, but genuinely listen and allow that person to get out everything that they have to say, so that you can learn something about somebody that you might have not have known prior. I thought that was such a beautiful example of what this whole next few months are going to be about. Um, and again, everybody's going to be in different places with this and have different situations going on, but there's definitely going to be a lot of mending. And there's definitely going to be a lot of people coming back. Mercury's in its shadow starting April 1st, right? Or April 2nd. Don't quote me on the shadow phase, but it's going to be going retrograde, is the point. And so this is always about people and places and things coming back around, right? So there's definitely going to be some mending, closure, and, these kinds of conversations. And I thought, if I could give a great example on how to deal with people coming back into your life, is that. And then because Mercury is going to be in Aries, it's like, again, going back to signaling theory. Well, what have you done since then that also shows, that you're worth taking back? What did you do? What have you changed? Let's go visit those things. How much did you invest in yourself? Show me. It's like Aries is about action, taking action, and not just talking good talk, but walking it as well. That's going to be huge, huge for people to do, especially with the North Node being in Aries. And then you have Chiron, and I'll talk about that again, but it just is one of those things where it gives you a really awesome opportunity to truly heal something from the past and get some kind of closure, whether you're moving forward with this or you're still realizing and making the decision to go, for whatever reason, doesn't matter. It's not what you do, it's how you do it that gives you value. That's the real wealth. I think a lot of us mistake this idea of wealth that is just about money or for currency, but it's frequency. It's your network. Your network. How many people can you call right now that you still have in your phone right now that you're solid with, because you've done them solid? Um, you know, just measuring those types of things are going to give you a lot more information about this than anything else. And so that's going to be a really big theme. Again, if somebody's making you unhappy, they're draining you, or you're sad, these aren't the type of people that are going to last throughout this transit. If people are projecting, challenging, and trying to confuse you, being opinionated, just for the sake of being opinionated, um, um, these aren't the type of people who are going to last through this. Um, yeah, but I think just to double back, that Terry Crews situation, him giving Ice Cube his flowers, he had ultimately had mentioned that he got an opportunity to be in the movie with Denzel Washington. And he made a lot of money from just that. I think he was only in like one scene. I don't even think it was a lot, but that's wealth, because now people are going to be calling him for certain situations. And that's how, again, that's the wealth and being able to accept small gestures, but knowing somebody's worth within that small gesture and knowing that you'll have the opportunity to be on a platform in front of thousands of other people that give you thousands of other opportunities. Another example, so that it makes more sense, because I'm kind of all over the place, but there was another guy, I think it was, you know what, I'm not even going to try to remember his name. It was a radio show host who would have people come on, but he wouldn't allow people to say who they were, say their business name, or sell any products, none of that. They can only talk about whatever the topic of conversation was that he had them on the show for. And the reason that somebody would do that is because they know the fame is more worth, you know, them, getting on that show and having people having access to you. That's the wealth. But when somebody constricts that and takes that from you, it's like a 9 to 5. It's just getting a check every week or every other week just so that you have enough to live. And I think that's the mindset that we're on, because we don't understand how to capitalize on opportunities for many reasons, trauma, fear, um, all that kind of stuff. But, I just think there's a lot of work that we have to do. I know a lot of people are going to make it. A lot of people are going to see what it is that they need to see. And that's really all that matters. And for the ones that don't, you hold compassion for them. This isn't about job shaming. This isn't about talking about people who are in lack and that don't have anything. I need to make that very clear, because I just don't want to believe that people who are in those situations are never, ever, ever going to make it. I think that would be a huge mistake to assume that. They just haven't. It's, their lessons for you to learn and your lessons for them to take that information and grow and evolve, and everybody has their day and grows at different times and places and spaces. And so it's important to make note of that. But that's just the way you measure stuff, right? And so this isn't about talking about anybody at all. I do believe that eventually everybody will. So, as usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.